Welcome to the Travel Podcast by ExcursionPass. I am so excited for today's deep dive. Imagine stepping out into the crisp morning Parisian air. You've got this...
You have to have fresh croissant in hand, obviously.
Oh, obviously. A warm, buttery pastry is mandatory. So you have your pastry, and you are about to walk over the exact ground where bloodthirsty gladiators used to fight.
Which is just, wild to think about.
It totally is. And then you walk straight through to the hallowed resting places of France's greatest scientific minds. And the best part, you are doing all of this without waiting in a single queue.
The absolute dream right there.
Right. So today, we're taking you on a vibrant, completely immersive walkthrough of the Paris Latin Quarter walking tour with Pantheon entry, which is provided by Paris Fun Tours. We're going to unpack exactly what this 90-minute experience entails, who it's for, and, why reviewers are just completely obsessed with it.
Yeah, it's honestly such a clever itinerary because, well, if you've ever traveled to a dense city like Paris, you know the biggest barrier is the friction.
Oh, the friction is real.
Yeah, the crowds, the confusion, getting lost. But this specific route just dismantles all of that. It lets you actually absorb the history from, the Roman conquest right up to the Enlightenment without wanting to pull your hair out.
Okay, before we can even get to the Enlightenment, we have to talk about the physical reality of getting there.
Yeah.
Because I know what you're thinking. If you're planning a trip, you probably have a healthy dose of what I call walking tour dread.
Oh, absolutely. The dreaded death march.
Yes. You assume you're signing up for this grueling, 3-hour marathon where you are just herded like cattle behind some frayed umbrella.
Straining to hear someone shout over traffic. Yeah, no, it's a miserable way to learn history.
So let's proactively crush those objections right now. The structural parameters of this tour are fantastic.
Yeah.
First of all, the duration is strictly capped at 90 minutes.
Which is honestly the sweet spot. 90 minutes is the exact threshold before cognitive overload kicks in.
And the foot pain.
Right, the physical fatigue.
Yeah.
So you take this tour, say, at the typical 11 a.m. summer departure, and you are entirely finished before lunch.
You can go get a nice glass of wine.
Huh.
And the other crucial detail is the group size. It is capped at a maximum of 20 people.
So it actually feels semi-private.
Exactly. You aren't part of this massive horde blocking the sidewalks. You can actually engage with the guide. And the pricing sits around 59 euros for adults, which is roughly $68, and 45 euros for youth.
Which is incredibly reasonable for Paris.
It really is. Plus, they offer a free cancellation policy up to 24 hours before the tour. Total peace of mind.
Yeah, that flexibility is huge. And the meetup itself is designed to lower your stress. You're asked to arrive maybe 20 to 25 minutes early at Place de la Sorbonne.
Such a gorgeous square, by the way.
It's beautiful. Specifically, you meet outside La Galicienne, right in front of the bookstore. But the best part is how you find the guide. They tell you to look for a guide holding a pink flag and wearing a pink badge.
Okay, I have to jump in here because some people might hear pink flag and think, oh, that is so tacky and touristy. But honestly, it is like a beacon of hope in a sea of confused tourists.
It totally is.
You're jet-lagged. Paris is chaotic, and you just see this bright pink flag, and your cortisol levels immediately drop. You're like, oh, thank goodness, there they are.
It solves the navigation problem instantly, but if we're being totally transparent about the logistics, we do need to talk about the infrastructure of the Latin Quarter itself.
Right. What about accessibility? Because Paris is notoriously tricky with that.
Yeah, unforgiving is probably a better word. You are in the 5th arrondissement. It's one of the oldest sections of the city, so you're dealing with narrow sidewalks, uneven centuries-old cobblestones, and inclines.
So what's the actual physical demand here?
Well, it is stroller accessible, and they say it's fine for ages 0 to 100 as long as you're in good health, but it is explicitly not wheelchair accessible. The medieval street layout just doesn't allow for it.
That's good to know up front.
Yeah, and they also advise that travelers with severe back issues should really reconsider. You're on your feet on hard, uneven surfaces for an hour and a half, so just, keep that in mind.
Totally fair. But okay, let's say you're ready for the walk. You spot that pink flag, your group gathers, and the tour begins. The transition is almost instantaneous.
It really is like stepping through a portal.
Yes. You step off the busy boulevard, the modern city noise just fades away, and your guide takes you through these hidden courtyards and vibrant little squares that you would absolutely walk right past if you were alone.
Oh, 100%. You'd never find them.
And then you turn a corner, and suddenly you step into the Arène de Lutèce.
Which is just wild.
It's an actual ancient Roman amphitheater where gladiators fought,
Right in the middle of a Parisian neighborhood. I mean, how mind-bending is it to be eating a pastry one minute and standing in a gladiator arena the next? It's a total layer cake of history. And I think that's why you need a guide for this. Because, if you just walk in there, it might just look like some old rocks surrounded by modern apartment buildings.
Right. You might just be like, oh, cool rocks.
Exactly. But the guides and reviewers constantly rave about guides like Anjali, Adrian, and Loveth. They give you the why. They explain that when the Romans conquered the area, they built this massive arena for 15,000 people.
Which was huge for the time.
Huge. It was the absolute epicenter of culture. But what's really fascinating is how it survived, or, well, how it didn't survive at first.
Wait, yeah, didn't they basically tear it apart?
Yeah. During the barbarian invasions, the locals literally dismantled the amphitheater to build defensive walls. It was completely buried and forgotten for centuries.
Just vanished under the dirt. That is insane to me.
And it wasn't discovered again until the 1860s during those massive public works projects. They were clearing land for a tram depot and accidentally hit Roman ruins.
And then Victor Hugo had to step in to save it.
Yeah, he did. They were going to pave right over it, and he led this massive public pressure campaign to preserve it.
See, when you know that story, it transforms a pleasant walk into this deep understanding of how Paris evolved. You're standing where Romans watched theater, and now locals are playing pétanque on the exact same dirt.
It's a complete shift in perspective, and that flows perfectly into the next stop, which jumps us forward in time to the Église Saint-Étienne-du-Mont.
Oh, wow. Okay, this church is just breathtaking.
It really is an architectural masterpiece.
And it houses the shrine of Saint Geneviève, right? The patron saint of Paris.
Exactly. And the guides do such a warm, funny, and knowledgeable job of bringing her story to life. They talk about how in the 5th century, Attila the Hun was marching toward Paris.
Which, talk about terrifying.
Oh, total panic. The city was ready to completely evacuate. But Geneviève basically told everyone to stay calm, to pray, and she prevented mass hysteria. And remarkably, Attila diverted his army.
She basically saved the city through
She really did. And inside that church, you also see this incredibly rare architectural feature called a rood screen. It's like this intricately carved stone bridge inside the church that looks like delicate white lace.
It is stunning.
Yeah.
And hearing the history just makes you appreciate those cobblestone streets so much more. But I will say, after all that intense medieval history, the tour pacing does something very smart.
The Luxembourg Gardens.
Yes. You take this beautiful, relaxing stroll through the elegant tree-lined promenades of the Luxembourg Gardens.
It's like a mental palate cleanser.
That is exactly what it is. You see the statues, maybe the little wood sailboats. You get to just decompress for a minute, because then you reach the grand finale.
The Pantheon.
The Pantheon.
Yeah.
And this is typically where the dreaded tourist fatigue sets in. You turn the corner, you see this massive, imposing neoclassical dome, and then
You see the line.
the line, snaking all the way out the door, people just baking in the sun. It's usually the moment where you just say, you know what, let's take a selfie from the street and go get a coffee.
Yeah, you just give up. But this is the absolute game changer of this specific tour. You have reserved group access tickets.
Yes, you completely bypass the long queues. It is like having a VIP backstage pass to history while everyone else is just stuck outside. The relief you feel walking past that line is immense.
Oh, it's the best feeling. But what I love most is how the tour operators handle the final explanation. Because they don't drag you inside to give a lecture in a crowded, echoing room.
Right, where you can't hear anything anyway.
Exactly. The guide stops the group outside. They give you this incredibly detailed, passionate explanation of the history while you're looking at the facade. And then they hand you your ticket and let you go.
The guided portion ends right there, which is so smart.
It really is. I was reading a review by a traveler named Angela S., and she specifically noted this. She said the guide's stories leading up to the Pantheon made seeing the dome and the tombs inside so much more meaningful.
You get the context first, but then you get total freedom.
Exactly. There's a huge psychological benefit to that. You don't feel rushed by a group. You can linger as long as you want.
And you will want to linger, because once you step inside, it is staggering. The very first thing you see is Foucault's pendulum.
Ah, yes. Just swinging rhythmically from the absolute center of the dome.
It is mesmerizing. It's this heavy brass sphere suspended by a wire that's like over 200 feet long. And you're literally watching the Earth rotate in real time.
Which is a pretty wild thing to see inside what looks like a giant cathedral.
Right. Because it was originally commissioned as a church by King Louis XV, But by the time it was finished, the French Revolution had happened.
So the revolutionaries took one look at it and said, nope, we're keeping this for the Republic.
Exactly. They turned it into a secular mausoleum.
Yeah.
And down in the crypt, that's where you find the tombs of France's absolute icons.
Voltaire, Rousseau, Victor Hugo.
And Marie Curie, the resting place of these incredible geniuses. And because the tour guide released you at the door, you can just wander through those quiet vaults entirely at your own pace.
You can spend an hour reading the plaques if you want. It's completely up to you.
It really is the perfect way to wrap up the experience. So just to summarize the sheer value of what we've unpacked today, you are getting an expert-guided, highly immersive 90 minutes.
With zero walking tour dread.
Zero dread. You get guaranteed line skipping at the Pantheon.
Yeah.
And you have that total peace of mind with the free cancellation policy. It's honestly unparalleled.
It really is a masterclass in how to actually enjoy Paris.
It is. Well, we are just about out of time for today's deep dive. But before you go out and book your tickets, we want to leave you with a final kind of provocative thought to mull over on your own.
Yeah, something to think about while you're standing in that crypt.
Exactly. As you stand under that massive dome, looking at the tombs of Voltaire and Marie Curie, it begs a really fascinating question. In a couple of centuries, what kind of modern-day minds will we deem worthy enough to be buried in a monument like this?
And how will our descendants judge the choices we make today?
It's a heavy thought, but a good one. Thank you so much for joining us on the Travel Podcast by ExcursionPass. We hope you feel like you just walked the cobblestones right alongside us.
And that you're ready to conquer the Latin Quarter without waiting in a single line.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and safe travels, everyone.